Season 7, Episode 4, The Spoils of War. I should probably carry that on as a wrap or something, but that's not going to happen. So before we get on to some of the best moments of this video, I just want to say that I think, so far in the season, this is probably the best episode. So as always with a video like this, be careful for spoilers, and here we go. And this meme sums up how we feel about a new Game of Thrones episode, apart from if you're in the UK and it airs on a Monday instead of a Sunday. So we start off right where the last episode left off, as the Lannisters took over Highgarden, took all their money, and are on their way back. But one of the first best moments for me was Bronn. Bronn is personally one of my favourite characters, and apart from the Hound, I reckon he might have some of the best one-liners in the show. So I was super happy that Bronn finally had like a big part in one of the episodes, since his wit and charm haven't really been in this season that much so far. However, at the beginning to me, that kind of felt like it meant he was going to die, Game of Thrones style. So back in King's Landing, everything's going alright for Cersei now. She's repaying the Lannisters' huge debt, to which this guy seemed a little bit surprised. However, he also said that people of the Iron Bank wouldn't be pleased that they would no longer be getting the Lannisters' interest rates, to which he offered them a new loan almost immediately to fund the war that's coming. I wonder what it's like getting a mortgage in King's Landing, jeez. So next up we have Bran. So Bran's gone from the cute little boy who used to climb castles to the guy that you really don't want to sit next to in your maths class. One of the cool scenes is when he's sat with Littlefinger, and Littlefinger gives him the dagger that was used to try and assassinate him in the first season. Bran then goes on to carry on being a little bit weird and says, "Chaos is a ladder," which is something that Littlefinger has previously said to Varys.
Chaos is a ladder.
Bran then dropped the mic and rolled off. Bran then has a chat with Mira, who's been on a huge adventure with him. Her brother's died for him, and all Bran can say is thanks. Cheers, Bran, mate. But maybe he's just trying to get ready for his new Disney Channel show. Yeah, that's it, Bran. One of the next best moments definitely has to be Arya. So she finally returns to Winterfell after her epic journey of self-discovery. It sounds like she's been to Thailand backpacking, but she gets back to the gates of Winterfell, has an interaction with the Chuckle Brothers, and finally gets to meet her sister again. So Sansa and Arya haven't always seen eye to eye, and they don't really agree on that many things, but they're sisters. When they see each other after all they've gone through together, and separately on their journeys, a big hug is what's needed. And I think that's what Sansa's good at the moment, just hugging people. They then also meet with Bran, who continues to be a weirdo, but he gives the cat's paw dagger to Arya, which is pretty cool, because she is a badass, and then goes on to use it in a fight scene with Brienne. Amazing. The fight scene is actually pretty cool, and Arya kind of stands up for herself a lot until she gets a massive kick to the chest. I think if it was an actual fight, Brienne would probably win. Although, Arya is like 2 feet tall. As a viewer, and after everything that's happened to the Stark family, it's amazing to see some of the Stark children coming back together, but what I can't wait for is for Jon Snow to come back and meet them. Especially the meeting between Jon and Arya, which will hopefully be in the next episode. Fingers crossed. Hello? Who's this? Ben. Benno! Bendini. Jesus. Alright, so we've got about 1 million different Game of Thrones meme accounts to thank for that one. But yes, we're back over to Dragonstone to catch up on the adventures of Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. From their interactions, you can kind of tell that they're getting to know each other a little bit better, trusting each other, but Daenerys still wants him to bend the knee.
When he bend the knee.
After Daenerys let Jon Snow go down into the depths of Dragonstone and try and find some dragonglass to defeat the White Walkers to the end of the show, Jon takes her down there and shows us some carvings that are on the wall from the Children of the Forest from God knows when, which helps Dany believe that the Whites are actually real, because there's some drawings on a wall that Jon Snow definitely didn't draw himself to try and convince her. I feel like this one was the most interesting and detailed out of them all though. But one of the symbols that are on the wall that they didn't speak about in the show, but has been shown up quite a bit in the images, is this spiral symbol. So the Night's King actually made this symbol out of dead bodies in one of the episodes, and when the Children of the Forest made the first White Walker by stabbing one of the first men in the heart with dragonglass, there was also this spiral. Whilst doing some research, I also noticed that there's a circle with a line through it that is in the first episode of the whole show. Who knows if it means anything, if it could be something to do with the Long Night and defeating the White Walkers, or if it's just a pretty pattern that the editors like. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Missandei and Dany have a cheeky little girl talk about a man who's not got a penis, Now, speaking of not having a penis, Theon had huge balls in this scene, where him and Jon meet for the first time since everything happened. Jon probably still thinks that Theon killed Bran, and he only knows what he's heard from other people, so he may even think that Arya's still dead, which they've all met up in Winterfell now, so please, someone, send a raven to Jon. Now, going all the way back to Season 2, Episode 4 with Stannis, he actually teaches Davos the correct grammar, because he's a grammar Nazi.
And it's 4 less fingernails to clean.
Fewer.
Pardon?
Now, in this episode, Davos also says fewer instead of less, and teaches Jon Snow.
How many men do we have in the north to fight in? 10,000 less?
Fewer.
What?
Who looks like he couldn't give less of a...
What? Listen.
So finally we move on to the best part of the episode, the main event, the bit that everyone's been waiting for. The huge battle, the spoils of war. So the Lannister army are slowly getting their stuff together, collecting all the grain, and it's important to note that Randyll Tarly actually says that all the gold has reached King's Landing at this moment in time.
All the gold safely through the gates of King's Landing.
Good.
So all of the carts are just filled with grain and not gold, when they hear a thunderous roar from the horizon. And no, it's not Lady Olenna farting in her grave, it's the Dothraki and Daenerys with a big fuck-off dragon. So the only real fight that can kind of compare to this scene so far in Game of Thrones is the Battle of the Bastards, which is probably my favourite episode of all time. But this battle scene is absolutely amazing. It's like you're actually watching a movie that's taken years and years and years to make. I would definitely recommend watching the behind the scenes episode that they've made on the Game of Thrones official YouTube channel. It's so interesting to see how they actually film it all. And the way that the Dothraki were surfing on their horses just made me think that one of them should have just yelled out, "Right shell, dude!" So the Lannisters basically get caught with their trousers down here. They get absolutely destroyed by the Dothraki. As a wise Robert Baratheon said at the beginning of Game of Thrones, you would be a fool to meet the Dothraki in an open field. But in this case, they didn't really have much of a choice, did they? The cinematography, the epicness of the whole place. One of my favourite scenes is when the dragon flies and the camera's like over the top of the dragon and he takes out all the different carts. Insane, man. So good. But luckily enough for the Lannisters, they somehow had the scorpion ballista crossbow thing that Qyburn has been making with them. Possibly in case they encountered a situation like this one. To which Jaime can't use because he's only got one hand, so it lands to our hero, Bronn. Bronn goes on a massive mission through the battlefield, through the fire and the flames. Takes out a couple of Dothraki. One of the moments I like with Bronn is when he falls over and his purse with loads of gold falls out and he kind of looks at it for a second thinking, should I get the gold? Because he's a sellsword, all he's known for most of his life is doing stuff for money. But he decides not to. I don't know if that's because he probably would have died if he tried to pick up his gold, or if he's kind of changing his morality in the way he thinks, but he carries on nonetheless. Gets to the ballista, shoots a Dothraki through the heart, yes, and then goes on to have a battle with Drogon the dragon. He manages to get a shot off on Drogon, but it just gets him in the shoulder, so it just injures him enough to make him go down, to which Daenerys didn't have any kind of safety measures. She was just falling from the sky. She didn't even have a parachute. I mean, come on. As Daenerys is on the floor trying to pull out the spear from Drogon's shoulder, Jaime senses an opportunity. And I love how they kind of focused on Jaime for the scene. He's kind of the main character in the whole scene. They didn't focus on Daenerys that much. She didn't really say anything apart from Dracarys and then had a big barbecue. And you didn't really know who to vote for in this battle. In most of the battles in the past, you kind of wanted, say the big battle in Season 4, you wanted the Night's Watch to win against the Wildlings. In Season 6, you wanted Jon Snow and the Wildlings to win against Ramsay Bolton. But in this one, I don't know who I wanted to win. I genuinely don't. So Jaime charges at Daenerys and Tyrion sees him from the other side of the battlefield, which is pretty good because you can see that he still loves his brother, he still cares for his brother. Can you question whether he wants to take down the Lannisters? Because the last time they saw each other was when Jaime actually freed him from the prison after the trial for Joffrey's murder. And Jaime actually now knows that it wasn't Tyrion who did that, so I can't wait for them to meet, hopefully in the next episode. And Jaime charges towards Drogon, as Drogon sees him, and he's like, you know what, mate, you're going to get burnt. And then a mystery figure, who is almost definitely Bronn, comes out, jumps, and pushes Jaime out of the way into a lake. Or it might be a stream or a river, some kind of water. And Jaime's in his full metal armour, and he's kind of sinking to the bottom, and that is where the sequence ends. But there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the black scene at the end of every Game of Thrones episode that leaves us looking at the reflection of ourselves, looking like we've just been shot ourselves. But let me know in the comments what you think's going to happen to Jaime and Bronn, if Daenerys is going to capture them, or kill them, or anything else. I'm super excited for the next episode and the rest of the series. If you are as well, hit the like button down below and subscribe for more videos. This is the first Game of Thrones videos that I've actually done, so if you've enjoyed it, it would help me out a lot if you could share it with some of your friends that also love Game of Thrones. And the next episode trailer is already out, so I could put together a little video for that if some of you guys want to see that, but let me know. And yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you on my next video.